Hi, I'm Rachel, and I'm here to do my July 2019 book haul. So I'm going to start in order of purchase or other means of acquiring a book. I'll get to that later. This one is The Pale of Settlement, short stories by Margot Singer, which I got because it was near the beginning of my Goodreads TBR, and I try to privilege a little bit of short story collections in July. Here's what they're about. In settings from Jerusalem to Manhattan, from the archaeological ruins of the Galilee to Kathmandu, these linked short stories in The Pale of Settlement give us characters who struggle to piece together the history and myths of their family's past. So, total kryptonite for me. And also, I've technically started this collection, so purchase almost justified. This next book I got the weekend before my birthday. It is Ice Palace by Edna Ferber. The Saturday before my birthday, and actually before the birthday of a friend who also has a birthday at the same time as me, we went to Berkeley Springs, West Virginia, which is a small little town nearby-ish that's mostly known for its spas. Although we ultimately didn't go to the spas at all. I've never actually been to a spa, but there were all sorts of quaint little things on the, main street of town. And one of the things we did that I've never done before is we went antiquing. And it was like really cool. It was this really huge refurbished barn that was sort of sectioned off into little aisles that you could shop into, and they had all sorts of knickknacks. And for a while I was thinking I wouldn't really buy anything, or then I thought, well, I'll at least get a 90s Batman figurine for my brother-in-law whose birthday's around the same time. But I figured I didn't need to buy any books per se, and nothing really looked all that either appealing or familiar to me, except perhaps for like some American Girl collections or things like that. But then I found this book, and I'd had Edna Ferber on my mind for a little while since Book Riot profiled her, and she's one of those authors that, from yesteryear, the beginning to middle of the 20th century, was very popular and has now faded into obscurity. And also she is a American Jewish female writer, which is like checking off a lot of things in my wheelhouse. So she was on my mind, and I saw her name in the stacks, and I thought, well, why didn't I pick this up? So I'll read from the flap. Edna Ferber has summoned up all her vast natural resources as a superior novelist to depict today's Alaska and Ice Palace. Here are the territory's modern, vigorous people, its dramatic weather and scenery, its desperate, still unfinished struggle for statehood. And here, too, are the men from the outside, determined to exploit a fabulously rich Alaska for their own gains. This is an angry novel, telling of the 50-year battle between two titans trying to dominate Alaska's future. And this is the story of their lovely young granddaughter, Christine Storm, who has to choose between two younger titans, a choice that stood in a way for Alaska's future. The characters in Ice Palace are all as strong, as boldly drawn, as the towering mountains that surround them. The novel's vital theme of a proud land's virile insistence on the dignity of independence is as forceful as the invigorating air its people breathe. So that gets rather forceful there at the end, but yeah, one thing that also interests me is it seems like she writes about a variety of different subjects, so this is just one of them. Next, about a week later, I went to local bookstore Solid State Books in Washington, D.C., where they were having a novella reading. There were 3 authors on tour with their 3 novellas recently published by Baltimore-based publisher Mason Jar Press. And I was intrigued to try them out because I'm also writing novella and trying to look into, who publishes them and how they're marketed. This particular group had a relatively action-packed tour. They went to several cities across the mid-Atlantic. At least a handful of cities, which for, a small press and novella seems like a lot. So at Solid State Books there was just a handful of people, mostly friends, but they read a little bit and people laughed and chatted, and I got the 3 books and I even got them signed. The books are Manhunt by Jamie Fontaine, The Couples by Nicole Callahan, and All Friends Are Necessary by Tomas Moniz. And they're all about like 80 to 90 pages, so even small on the scale of novellas, and I'm hoping to read them in August. And finally, the cream of the crop for me, undoubtedly my favorite acquisition of the month, is this one from my 5-year-old niece, Grace. She wrote me what she called Aunt Rachel's first story. You know, my sister helped her with the writing, but not her name. She wrote the name stuff here, and she thought up the story, which is very much inspired by The Wizard of Oz, which she recently watched. We have witches and spells and turning into monkeys, a tornado, and the good witch in her bubble. I won't spoil the ending for you. But anyway, I'm just so thrilled that Grace is embracing reading and now writing. And she's so creative and so kind, because she knows I love reading and writing too. And I'm just so glad that she obviously wanted to do this. When I was her age, I also wrote my first story, which I named after my sister's egregious case of the chicken pox at the time, and my mother, you know, wrote in the words for me too, and I drew the pictures, so I feel like I'm passing things down through the generations, and I'm so happy, and I will display this one prominently. So that about covers it for me now. It is now August, and I'm still scrabbling to finish up videos and books and such from July, but we're still in early days, so hopefully I'll get them done soon. It's been kind of a crazy week for me with some ups and definite downs. I'm looking forward to the weekend, and hopefully I can recoup with at least some reading, if nothing else. But I'll be back here soon. I have some author's answer I want to get to, and Friday reads, and I think I might also tackle a video on the recent BookTube prize announcement. Robert at Barter Hordes just recently announced the official shortlist. So stay tuned, and thank you so much for watching, everyone, and I'll see you next time.